suckling on the teat of tech with Paul Brislen and Wammo on Kiwi.
It's time to talk high tech with Paul Brislen, twitter.com/Paul Brislen, auden.wordpress.com. Hello to you, Paul.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well, back from a week's holiday.
Yes, sunning, surfing, lying around, doing very little. It was gorgeous.
Swimming amongst tropical fish, I hear,
Tropical
as well.
fish, yes. They can swim faster than me, and I'd had far too many mojitos, so I just sort of bobbed around on the surface.
Oh, man, you don't need a Christmas light. You can work through Christmas now.
Well, funnily enough, I probably will be. But there you go. Hey, it's tough in the big game.
Well, it's been a big week in the tech world because the one of the bigger giants, Google, has made so many announcements. I don't know why they've just chosen now to do it all.
Spam us all with them, but there are tons of them, aren't there? They're just it's astonishing. It's good to see that they are actually getting back to core business, because these announcements aren't all peripheral stuff. This is the basic business of search and doing what Google does so very well, which is giving you a product which you suddenly go, my God, how did I cope without that beforehand?
Yeah.
It's insane. So the first of them, possibly the coolest, is Google Goggles, which is visual search, which means you take a photo of something and press the button, and Google Goggles will figure out what it is.
So I go and take a photo of, let's say, the Auckland Sky Tower.
Yeah.
Just because I like doing that. And take a picture of it and then send that to Google, and then they will come back with the results of what they think that is. And,
exactly.
And more information
in a
about
heartbeat.
it.
In a heartbeat, by all accounts.
Goodness.
This is basically something you will install on a mobile phone. So Google's trialing it using its own Android operating system. So you need to have a Google phone. So the only one in New Zealand at the moment directly imported is the HTC Magic. But you can find others around the place. And you take a photo, and Google has, of course, a database of billions of images, and it tries to work out what it is. Apparently, it can recognize book covers, album covers, artwork, landmarks, places, logos, and a few other things.
What about my armpit?
Probably you get some odd responses
No doubt.
for that one, I would suggest. But then you would anyway, wouldn't you? Really? If you were to send me a photo of your armpit, I'd probably give you quite an odd response too. But anything well-known, you can take a photo of it and fire it off and see what happens. It's very similar to iPhone users will know Shazam, the software that you let it listen to a piece of music, and it comes back and tells you not only what the piece of music is and who was singing, but shows you the artwork for the album cover and offers to let you buy it through the iTunes Music Store, which is very funky.
Yeah. I actually saw one of these, wasn't HTC Magic, but it was another HTC, I think a newer one anyway. It was parallel imported, but one of those, using the Google Maps app, it would detect which way you were facing. And give you a kind
turns as you turn.
Yeah, turn as you turn. Give you a 3D view, but then also say, I want to know if there's a pizza restaurant anywhere, and then it will actually pinpoint it, and so you can turn towards it and start walking towards it.
And just start walking, and it guides you in.
Wow.
I mean, that is very cool. Google's foray into the mobile market is going to be very interesting in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, Apple's got good competition on the software front, and probably even better competition in terms of sheer volume from all of the different handset makers who are suddenly jumping on board. You'll have not only HTC, but also the likes of Motorola getting in there, some of the other big names as well, Samsung. They're all talking about producing phones using this operating system because it integrates so nicely with all the Google apps and all the Google features.
Yeah. What else have they announced?
Bags of fun. Well, they've got real-time search, which has been kicking around for a couple of weeks now, which I'm finding incredibly useful. So you'll do a search for something, and the key example here would probably be Tiger Woods. You do a search for Tiger Woods, and up come all the news results. But then as new news results come in, it slots them straight into the page. So it refreshes the page without you having to do anything, which sounds quite sort of boring and basic, but is actually really quite useful, especially if you're trying to track a news story as it's coming to fruition. So for this one, for example, for Tiger Woods, it's quite fun. You can watch the number of mistresses increase up towards double digits during the course of the day without having to lift a finger, which is quite nice. So you can leave the page open, sitting there on your screen, and just keep an eye on what's happening with a breaking news story.
Yeah.
And finally, Google's done the right thing and is talking with Twitter, and will be integrating the Twitter feed, the fire hose of tweets, in with Google searching, which means that Google now basically returns results from social media as well as from the straightforward website.
Which could create another surge of Twitter users.
Well, hopefully so, because now it becomes far more mainstream. Once Google is indexing it, you'll be able to see just how much stuff is going on over there in Twitter world, and hopefully that'll drag in a few more bodies to have a bit of a look, because again, I use the news example because I'm a bit of a news junkie, but for finding out about breaking news, there is nothing like using Twitter. There was an earthquake in Wellington the other day, and within seconds, the Twitter stream just filled up with people going, "Oh, did you feel that? No, the cat's still asleep on me. What happened? Oh, well, a bit of an earthquake. Oh, no, it was really big over here," and you could track it quite quickly.
Yeah.
Far more quickly than the news feeds, which sort of got round to it about half a day later.
Yeah.
Which
is also interesting because that it has ramifications for, say, companies who may be in or out of favour at that point of time on social media. It will bring that attention to the front of Google.
That's right. And suddenly you will get people higher up the food chain who realise the conversations are being had about their brands, about their companies, which they're completely unaware of.
Yeah.
And that will certainly stir up businesses in particular to start paying a bit more attention to social media, which is a good thing.
So most people are going to notice that. But what about there are a bit some more geekier kind of announcements from Google as well?
There's a whole raft more. So Google Chrome, which is its browser, that's now been launched for Mac OS, and I think they're also talking about Linux, which is quite nice. So Google's move into the browser world, based in part on the work of a chap called Ben Goodger, who helped develop Firefox and is a Kiwi.
Yes.
We'll claim him as a Kiwi. He's a POM, but he's a Kiwi really.
Right.
And he's now working for Google, and I believe he won't tell me, but I believe he's working on Chrome back in the US somewhere. And they're now not only launching Chrome for Mac, but also a whole range of extensions. Now, this is what really makes Firefox work as a browser. Is you buy the basic, well, you don't buy it, you download the basic package of Firefox, and then you add on the bits that you want, rather than the bits that Firefox or Microsoft or Apple decide that you should have. You just customize it the way you want. So with that kind of capability, you really you need that in a browser these days. And Chrome's got it now for the Mac users.
Which is great, because it's
already I see on Twitter, oddly enough, a whole raft of people trying it. It's only been out for about 24 hours now, and finding it quite quick and really seeming to enjoy it, which is good to see.
It's great because it is my browser of choice, just because I find it faster than anything else.
Is that right? See, I'm still a Firefox user at heart, but only because it's got that Kiwi connection, and because I'm so used to it now, and I've got all my extensions loaded.
Yeah.
So if I could find a way of porting everything over to Chrome to have a go and take all of that usability with me, then I'd probably give it a whirl. But it's good to see there's so much opportunity now and competition. So you've got the traditional browsers. I mean, Microsoft is still out there, and IE8 seems to be really quite good these days. It's stable, doesn't fall over quite so much.
Disagree.
Well, yeah, I don't use it though. I mean, there's one for everyone, isn't there? So I'm stuck on Firefox. You're happy with Chrome. There's Apple's own Safari, of course. Opera's still ticking along somewhere.
It is the best incarnation of IE, and I find I use it sometimes because some various websites, for some reason, only want you to use IE.
That's right.
But I find it takes ages to load, and then if something doesn't work right, it will just crash and go, I've thought about this too long and I can't do it anymore, so I'm going to crash.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
See, you just don't get that with Firefox or with Chrome these days, do you? They just seem to suffer through everything and say, no, I can't work, but can't open that page, but hey, it's not going to stop you doing other things.
Yeah.
Which is as it should be.
And finally, an announcement from Google on a local level. Well, kind of an announcement. We have got new photos on Google Earth. If you have a look now and zoom in on Auckland, you'll see much clearer, much sharper pictures. And for those of us in the know, we've been following the Google van as it drives around, taking photos of us on the street. Some of us, anyway. Well, maybe some of Where's Wammo? I think this would be the game you could play on. I just happened to see the camera. I think three times in one day. And
I hope you were wearing your woolly hat.
in various different locations. And there was one time I was just in my garden, right, and I was just inspecting the garden as I do, and I just happened to pop my head up over the fence, and it drove by just as I did that. So, so there might be a photo of me poking my head over the fence, and also driving the scooter down on the way to work as well.
And there it was again.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And I see on Twitter this morning somebody was telling me that there's a dead man found on Google Maps.
Golly gosh.
So if you have a look, there's apparently...
Whereabouts?
I haven't managed to find it yet. I think he's in the UK.
Yeah.
It's all the fun of the fair with Google Images. The view down on my house has suddenly become updated, which is tremendous. You can see all the work the neighbours have done in the back garden, which is nice. And the street view should be along shortly. They've had the car travelling around for the past couple of months, really. I think they're all done now. So
very good.
We should see it shortly.